All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of the Crazy Podcast. And this week we have Dan as a special guest, my fiance. We'll be talking about several different things. Dan, would you like to say hi?
Hello, everyone.
All right, so let's get into the podcast. Hopefully, you guys enjoy it. And sorry that I didn't post this on Friday, but it is going up. Shit, what's today? Sunday.
Wow. You lost like 2 days.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Okay. It's going up. Hopefully you guys had a good weekend, and the vlog will be up on my main channel at 6:30 a.m. Yes, at 6:30 a.m. on Monday. You guys can go and check out the vlog. My main channel is called Yakira Lane. It is also linked down in the description. So, all right, let's get into the podcast.
Someone wants to be on here. What do you want to talk about?
I don't know.
I don't know what you want to talk about.
I don't know why you'd be nervous. It's just a podcast. They can't see you. They're not going to see you. They just hear you. So it's all right. It's just you, me, and a mic, and the audience that will eventually see the podcast.
You mean hear the podcast?
Yeah.
Okay, but like I said, if they follow your videos, they know who I am, and my one-liners, as you say.
No, I mean, they really, I feel like people that watch the vlogs or any of my other videos, they actually really like you. They call you, what is it, Dan the Savage.
Why?
I don't know why. They think it. I mean, Savage is like something like, oh, you know, like that's cool. Like, you know, like he just don't give a fuck. Like that's what a savage is. So like, I think that's pretty cool. Like, I wish they would call me a fucking savage. I don't ever get called a savage. You get fucking called a savage by my subscribers pretty often.
Why? Because I try to keep you down to earth on some of your ideas and what you're doing.
I don't know. I mean, I guess you just go for the gauntlet. I don't know. I don't know what it is.
I don't hold back on my little one-liners or my comments.
I don't really know. I don't really know what it is. I mean, I think eventually I'm just gonna have to like exploit you and make a whole series.
Oh, don't
do
that.
Just based off of you.
Don't do that. That'd be a huge mistake.
Why?
Because I'll get boring real fast.
It's okay. I think honestly I'm pretty boring. I don't see what people find like interesting about me necessarily. But I guess it's the internet, so I don't know, people are fucking nosy. I think that's just what it boils down to. I think that's why they like the vlogs so much. They don't care. Like, I know when I watch like vloggers, generally they could probably be doing like 0 to nothing, and like I would still watch it, and that's mainly just because I get to watch somebody else's life. I think that's what makes the most interesting thing about vlogs.
Yeah. So somebody thinks your life's interesting. They think your life's entertaining.
And maybe they think I'm funny. Maybe it's finally like living through that dream. Like I'm not just making jokes to make jokes. It can finally mean something. At least it will mean something on the internet.
Yeah. Okay. I see your point there.
What, you seem nervous. You want something to drink?
What?
You want something to drink? You want to get something to drink?
No. I think this is kind of like a public podcast. I don't want to be, sucking alcohol.
No.
Podcast.
It's fine. You can have a shot. Guys, we're going to take a short little break off of the podcast for a minute. And, we're going to get some adult beverages.
She's just trying to get me drunk, so I'll talk like I normally talk and forget the damn microphone is on.
So
I already got your game with. You need a drink?
Well, we're gonna take a break, guys, and we'll be right back with the podcast.
You're gonna get me drunk.
Alright, guys, we're back from our little break. Dan got some coffee. He's nice and relaxed, and we finally picked at least, probably not the topic that we're going to be talking about the whole podcast, but at least it's a start. So, Dan has this whole thing about Casey Neistat. He doesn't really care for him. He thinks that he's, like, arrogant. And what else do you think?
Pompous, self-centered, egotistical, and it doesn't seem like he has a lot to say nice about anybody but himself. That sums it up. He says the same thing. He goes over and over and over it again with just different names of people. He jumps onto other people's bandwagons too. Like, okay, really?
Alright, Dan, what do you think of Logan Paul?
Punk 20-year-old. More money than brains.
I see. That's a valid thing.
I don't watch Jake's. I have no idea about him.
I honestly think he's a little bit worse than Logan. Like, by a lot.
Didn't know that was possible, but okay.
I mean, I guess it is. I mean, it's funny. There's a joke going around YouTube, especially since they're both YouTubers, that people didn't know that they were like that. People thought that they were just like one person, not that they're like two separate people. They thought that Logan and Jake Paul were like the same people.
Being brothers, they probably do look a lot alike.
Not really.
Then how can people think they're the same?
It's just, I think it's just a joke, like a meme, like, the Paul brothers, they're both so, fucking retarded all the time. They're, like, practically the same person.
Retarded's a harsh word. They're just not real bright. Or they act really stupid, one of the two.
Well, I mean, they have to be doing something, right? I mean, all things aside, like, I don't know. I don't really watch either one of their content, like, enough to really get a good base idea, but they must be doing something, right? They're at, like, 7 million or something. I think maybe it has a lot to do with that young, impressionable girls, like, they just gravitate towards that sort of thing.
Yeah, the 13 to 16 stupid. The Valley Girl! Type of bullshit. It's like, okay, grow the fuck up, read a book. Stay the hell off the internet. You might do well in life.
I think everybody, to a certain degree, if they're gonna make videos on the internet, including myself, you have to be, like, a little bit, like, you have to be, a little bit of an attention seeker, like, a little bit egotistical. I think some people take that to, like, a way higher level than I think it needs to be. But making videos on the internet, you're basically just saying, like, I want people to like me. I want to grow a following. So, like, but some people take that to, like, the next level. Is that a valid statement?
Yeah, I think you need to be entertaining more than anything. And that's what I think a lot of these have. They just do that stupid skit shit and just to be entertaining, and that's what people are watching. But half of it's not original, half of it's they're just faking their own lives to try to act like there's something they're not, instead of just being real and entertaining with being real.
Oh, okay. Nova's underneath the table right now. She's like, I'm gonna be underneath the table.
Yeah, she likes you when you have your camera more than you do.
One of my favorite YouTubers that I watch all the time is PewDiePie, and I think mainly because out of everybody on the platform, not because he's the biggest YouTuber, because even if he wasn't the biggest YouTuber, I'd probably still watch him. It's just that he doesn't, like, for one, he doesn't censor himself, and two, like, he just doesn't give a fuck.
Well, he's trying to hold back lately a lot.
Well, yeah, because he gets a lot of criticism from the media, and he gets a lot of criticism from a lot of people on YouTube. But, I mean, he still generally does what the fuck he wants. I mean, he still curses in his videos. He hasn't really censored himself to YouTube and all their bullshit rules. And I feel like a lot of a lot of big YouTubers, the reason why they do get big is because they're like, oh well, we can act, really stupid on the fucking internet, and we're still going to like make it on YouTube because they're gonna promote this shit because we're technically following their rules, and they go for a certain demographic on YouTube, which is like the younger demographic, where they can just basically they say and do certain things that they know like the younger audience is going to gravitate towards. But like half the time, like those YouTubers are not even like that in person. I mean, their personality on the internet is not who they actually are, and I feel like YouTube has kind of gotten away from how it originally started. It's lost its authenticity in a lot of ways. And now it seems like there's been like a big growth in YouTubers that are just like, no, I'm not gonna fucking put on an act for the cameras or put it on an act to get people to fucking like me. I'm just gonna do what the fuck I want to do. And I feel like more and more people are starting to gravitate towards that sort of content versus the fake happy bullshit. Smile, and your life's just gonna be shits and fucking rainbows.
Well, I think they lost a lot of their integrity, and now, like with even PewDiePie to a certain degree, he kind of filtered down his cursing, he filtered down his opinions, and not voicing as many opinions as he once did, or making jokes of his own opinions, to try to keep that advertiser-friendly feeling.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what it comes down to. It's not, okay, I'm doing this to just do it. I mean, it's kind of strange, but you can tell the ones that are doing it because they enjoy it. And the other ones are so fake, you can tell that they're doing it just to try to get them views and those subscribers, and they're not real. I mean, anybody that can have the money to go and rent a Lambo just to say they can rent a Lambo. Okay, well, you didn't buy it, you rented it. It might be a lot of money, but what does that prove? It's like, to me, half of it's phony.
Well, I think it all just boils down to some YouTubers are very money hungry and they're going to do what's going to get them views and what's going to get them clicks. And there's the other side of YouTube where it's like people actually care about their content and they're making good shit, and it still doesn't really get promoted. Like, there's a lot of YouTubers that I watch that aren't even at 1 million subs, and they probably should be. But since, like, YouTube is just overloaded with just shitty fucking YouTubers, it's very hard to kind of pick and choose who's gonna pop up and who's not. And I think it all just boils down to people just wanna, when they watch shit on the internet, they want to see like that big flashy car or the nice house or like these crazy ridiculous stunts because it's something that they don't get out of their normal life, which is fine if you want to cater to that, but I don't really think it's worth it for me, honestly.
It all comes down to the viewer's personal preference. When they open up their laptop and they go to punch something into YouTube to try to escape their reality, it all depends on what they're looking for to escape to.
Yeah.
So if you're looking to escape to somebody with a real life and really doing it, that's what you're going to pick. If you want to see somebody flashing and with all the bells and whistles, that's the YouTuber you're going to follow, you're going to watch, just to see how far their ego can go. For me personally, I like to see the YouTubers that are actually doing it because they want to do it, and they might not have the biggest channel, they might not have all that extra garbage, but you can tell they're real when you're watching them. Like you said, even PewDiePie to a certain degree, he has the fame, he has the money, but he don't throw it in everybody's faces and say, oh, well, hey, I'm bigger than you, and bullshit. And if he does, he's pretty much cracking jokes about it. Tired?
A little bit.
Long night?
Not really that long of a night, Dan.
Up late?
Yeah, up late. We didn't get home until probably, after 3 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah.
Oh.
Fire by campsite.
I think one of the hardest things for somebody that wants to start out on YouTube is, I guess you just have to have like a strong enough drive to keep going. Because I think I've probably thought about quitting I don't even know how many fucking times. And that's just me being honest. And it's really because it's stressful to put so much effort into your content and what you do and try to maintain your life at the same time, and it gets really fucking stressful. And when you don't really have that constant encouragement that you get when you have a bigger audience, or you have when you already have a platform and you're just now building it up, it gets really hard sometimes. Not to get depressing, guys, or anything. I mean, I don't plan on quitting or anything. It's just YouTube sucks sometimes.
Well, you're wanting to do it the right way. Not that sub for sub, or you're not wanting to bend your integrity or your morals to try to get ahead. That's the long road, but I think you got something going on.
Yeah. I don't know. It's been a long, almost 10 months now. And I can honestly say when I first started, and probably sometimes now I still get that feeling, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
Or why am I doing this?
Yeah, why do I continue to make YouTube videos? But I think it's the feedback that keeps me going, the feedback that people give me off of my videos. That's the one thing that keeps me going. Okay, if that made you laugh or escape from your day, then I guess it makes it worth making content for me. Because it's not about the money. I haven't made a dime off of YouTube in the last 10 months.
Yeah. It's something that makes you who you are. It's a career thing. It's a long-term thing, goal.
I think starting up a YouTube channel when you decide to take it serious, and it's not all shits and giggles, and you're basically working your YouTube channel like you would start up any other business. It's a startup. You're constantly working, work, until eventually you get where you want to be. So, I don't know.
It's always changing. It's always improving.
I would like to think that my content is improving.
Yeah.
Maybe it isn't. Maybe it's not. I don't know. It's hard for me to gauge that, only just because, it's me making the content. It's hard to look at my videos and say, what's wrong with it or what's good with it, because I'm the one that made the fucking video. It's so much easier to judge someone else's content than it is to judge your own.
I agree. Everything in life, it's harder to look at yourself and criticizing somebody else.
Well, I can tell, okay, there's some videos that I made, they aren't necessarily, my favorite videos, but, it's just hard to tell, okay, is that better quality than, the last video, or the last 10 videos? I don't know. I guess that's where the feedback comes in.
Well, some people can take criticism, some people can't. But if people are gonna criticize, you can criticize politely.
Well, it's not about criticism. It's just about overall feedback. Good feedback, bad feedback. It's hard when you're starting up a YouTube channel, when you want to better your content, when you don't really know if it's getting any better or not. And I think that's probably like the hardest thing about making YouTube videos. Like, you want to still keep up the quality, but you want to bring up the quality at the same time with my videos.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Basically, what I'm saying, it's hard to gauge like if it's shit or if it's okay, if it's good. I don't fucking know. People obviously get some sort of enjoyment out of it. And what?
My thing is everybody's gonna enjoy different videos in their own way.
No, I mean like just the overall content. Like, if you're making, there's YouTubers that just make completely shit content, and I don't think like some YouTubers, like, I don't think their channel is really gonna go anywhere because it's just shit. It has no substance. But like, I don't know, somebody might look at my channel and say the same exact thing, like, oh, like, that channel doesn't really have any substance. That girl's not gonna fucking go anywhere. Like, her content is just shit.
There might be people out there that way, yeah.
So it's hard to gauge what is good content or what's a good video. I don't fucking know. Sometimes, like, if I when I'm editing a video and shit like that, like, I might get done editing it and I'm like, oh, like, that's a good video, and then like I go back and like rewatch it right before I'm about to post it, and I'm like, I don't think that video is really all that good.
Well, it's all gonna be on who's watching. One person might think it's good, and the other person might not like it. It's all individual choice on the viewer. If they hit the like or they don't. I mean, it's like everything else in life. They're gonna like you or they're not gonna like you.
Well, yeah, but going. I mean, I don't think you get what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about like somebody disliking it. Like, I'm just saying it's hard to gauge like what makes good content or what is good content. Like, what's a shitty video to a good video. Like, I don't know if my content is necessarily good enough. That's in my opinion. Sometimes I feel like I shoot videos and they're good and it is what it is, and then other videos I feel like just aren't nearly as good. And maybe that's because it only goes through one person and it gets edited by one person and filmed by one person, and so it's hard to judge something like that, like for you to be the judge on that, because you're the one that put in the work. So who's to say like what's shitty and what's not shitty? You don't have other people giving you feedback on it.
Yeah, I see your point to a certain degree. But you can put your heart and soul into something and be really proud of it, and for somebody to come along and say, nah, I don't like it. Well, 10 other people like it. So who's to say?
Well, okay, like an example. Like, one of my first videos was like a vapor review, and honestly, like, I feel like the vapor reviews that were like filmed on my phone to the vapor reviews that were filmed like on an actual camera and it went through editing software and it was done properly, like, those came out good. But like, it's crazy to me because like the ones that were like filmed on my phone generally did better than the ones that were filmed off the camera and through editing software and through other shit. Like, I don't get it.
Well, at the time, I think you were more phone friendly than camera friendly. Well, you even say every time I get by one of these mics or in front of them cameras, I just kind of like shut down and be quiet, and I'm not my normal outgoing self or whatever. it's you're so used to having your cell phone camera, selfies. It's part of your everyday existence, like everybody else. And when you put a camera in front of them and talk and ask them questions, and you want them to act normal, it's not a normal everyday occurrence that you see a lot of.
Well, I guess what I'm saying is it's not necessarily that they were shot on a phone or a camera. It's just that I thought those videos, the production value of them were shit, and like they generally did better.
Mm-hmm. You've said that to me a lot of times. I don't know how that got so many views because I didn't think it was all that good, and I told you, well, you naturally come out a little bit more in some than others. You're more flamboyant in some, you're less in other. It all has to do with a lot of how you're feeling at the time you're recording. So if you're in a good mood and you're recording in a good mood and everything's going great, it comes across on the camera. When things aren't going as well as you'd hope, or you're having issues with the computer, technical difficulties or whatever, you can tell when you're recording in your voice and how you act behind the camera. So it all has, some of it has to do with what you're doing when you're in front of the camera, how you're feeling when you're in front of the camera. And to watch the ones when you first got your camera to the ones now, I can see a difference. Because you were nervous as hell when you had your camera, and you're worried about the angle, and you're worried about this. You're putting so much technical stress on yourself. Mm-hmm. It comes across different than when you're just doing off your phone. So now after months of having your camera and the computer and stuff, it's coming across more natural again for you to be in front of the camera.
Mm-hmm.
I think it makes a big difference.
That makes sense.
So, some people, they can, they're so used to a certain thing that changing throws them all off. They have to go back to what they originally started with.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's I don't know. It's everybody's different as far as blogging and, the YouTube. You can scroll through YouTube for hours and not decide on anything to watch because you're so busy looking at everything.
Mm-hmm.
Hell, I could sit through and scroll through 1,000 thumbnails before I figure out which one I want. Okay. Put more time in looking for something than I do actually watching.
That's true.
Like that clickbait thing. Or you get what you click on it, you get, half a minute into it, and you're just like, oh man, this is ridiculous. Click, and you go to something else. And I don't know how they do that on YouTube. If you're only on it for so many seconds, does it count as a view?
I think it has to be up to a certain... It can't just be like 1 second and then click off. I think it has to be at least a certain amount of seconds before it counts as a view.
Okay. I think there's a lot of things that aren't fair with YouTube. It's like their suggestions to me, I'm like, are you serious? I'm not gonna watch that. The hell they keep coming up with these suggestions.
Yeah,
they're whoever they're figuring this out is really jacked up.
They switched the way that you find like suggested. First, it was like the recommended tab on the side of YouTube, like when you're going through and scrolling through, and like the recommended wasn't bad because the recommended went off of what you already watch. And then, like, the suggestive kind of just, it's like, oh, I'm going to suggest you a YouTuber that, like, you're not even subscribed to or that doesn't even remotely have anything to do with the YouTubers that, like, you also watch. So, I don't know. It's kind of fucked now because it does the same shit to me. Like, it will suggest, like, content that, like, I would never watch. But for some reason, it still comes up in the suggestive tab. Like, you might want to watch this. Like, no, the fuck I don't.
Yeah. That's kind of more of an annoying thing than anything. At least like, stick with the genre I'm usually watching.
But, yeah, no. I mean, sometimes the suggestive, they'll suggest, like, YouTubers, and yeah, I might watch some of them, and then I might like click on it, and then I'm like, oh, never watch this. Like, click. I'm gonna go back to whatever the fuck I was just doing.
It might be for some people, but it's not for the person.
Like, that's how I found that guy that runs that vape shop in Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I found his YouTube channel, was through the suggestive, because I do watch like a lot of like vapor. Well, I used to watch a lot of vapor content, and people that were just surrounding with different things in the vape industry and stuff like that. Because when I first started my channel, I did vapor shit. I mean, I still do from time to time, but it's just not as like go like just vape. It's not like that all the time anymore. So sometimes you find like a YouTuber, you're like, oh, okay, you know, I would watch that sometimes, but like most of the time in the suggestive box, it's like just like kind of like a shit show. It's like I don't want to watch this.
Yeah. What was that one video you showed me about that kids, parents with masturbation with kids and this and that? I don't know. That's just wrong.
Yeah,
that's my opinion. That's just wrong. Them kids are way too young. They shouldn't be discussed. And so for somebody to say, oh, you're going to be demonetized and you're going to be censored for this shit and that shit, and then they turn around and they put that on there, and this is suggested here. It's like, what are you trying to do? Influence the youth of the nation? It's like, okay.
Yeah, I don't really... They just made a video, what was it? Yesterday? The same people that made that video, they made it was today. Or was it yesterday? I don't know. I don't remember when I saw it. It was about birth control, and they were talking about like sex, and like this is supposed to be like a full series with whatever this channel is called. I think it's called Cut, and it's supposed to be like a full series where they're like teaching kids about all these different things. Like, I shouldn't even say different things, more like along like sexual things, like things you definitely shouldn't be talking to kids about. It's basically kind of like extreme sex ed, but on the internet. That's the only way that I can really describe this whole fucked up series.
And YouTube's promoting it.
Yeah, and YouTube's promoting it. And it's kind of just like, okay, that's not family friendly. Like, I got demonetized because I wanted to talk about like a world event, like something that everybody already technically knew about, and you know, I got demonetized because it was non-advertiser friendly. But like, you can talk to kids about fucking masturbation and birth control and other shit, and it's okay in YouTube's eyes. I don't get it. It's a real fucked up system. It makes me aggravated. I know it makes other YouTubers aggravated. Cause it's like, okay, if you're gonna promote this shit, then like, why are you so worried about me cursing in a video? Why are you so worried about like what I'm doing? Or, you know, if you're gonna promote shit that's just so vile, like, you're worried about the appropriateness of other YouTubers because they wanted to say fuck in a video, or they wanted to talk about something that's going on in the world, and you'll demonetize it for it, but you won't demonetize them for talking about fucking masturbation and parents talking to their kids about shit they shouldn't be talking to their kids about.
If you got an 8-year-old, 9-year-old scrolling through YouTube and this is on their suggestion list and they watch it and then they go and talk to their parents about it, the parents are going to get pissed. They're like, okay, well, my kid didn't need to hear that from YouTube, first of all, and I don't think my child's old enough to do that. I mean, it's taking the rights of the parents away, and parents just seem to be, oh, okay, let's just do that. No.
Yeah, and a lot of it is like, it's not even like, oh, I don't want to say like it's inappropriate to talk to your kid about masturbation or birth control or safe sex or anything like that, because technically it's not, but it's just not a conversation to be had on the internet, and for it to be trending, which you know it's going to go all over if it's on the trending page, to be having a conversation like that on the internet is just wildly inappropriate. It's bringing more conversation into
people's personal lives and they might not need to deal with or want to deal with, or the kid's not old
Yeah,
enough to understand in the first place.
I mean, I think it has a lot to do with why people are so upset about it. It's not like even like really the nature of the conversation, because I think in the inappropriate settings it's okay, but for you to be having it on the internet, for it to be on the trending page, you're not only taking away like the kids in the video, you're taking away innocence. I mean, not just the kids that are listening to it in the video and having to like be scarred by their parents by listening to this shit, but like other kids that watch this shit and they're like, oh, it must be okay because it's on YouTube.
My opinion is it should have been on like a parent's page. This is how you can teach your kids these things. If these things come up in conversation with your kid.
Yeah, I think
let the parent decide.
They could have shot the videos maybe a little bit more appropriately. Sorry, Dan's phone's going off. What was it, Brandy?
Yeah.
What'd she say?
Sitting by the fire, reading a book.
Reading a book? Is that code for something?
Well, probably having a drink or two while she's reading. And Kathy's on Facebook.
Or does she miss Goody Goody now?
Yeah, last night, it was a long night for her. You made her drink too much.
Yeah.
You bad girl, you. She can't hang with the drinkers.
She can't hang with the champs. Guys, I think I'm gonna end this podcast right here because it is going on a little bit too long. Well, actually, not too long. It's not too bad. It's probably gonna be like one of the longer podcasts, but it's okay. We got a little bit
carried away.
Yeah, we got a little bit carried away. But it's okay. It's a podcast, so it can technically be as long as it fucking wants. I mean, you guys just choose. I mean, you have the right to click out. And if you got this far in the podcast, I applaud you because I probably wouldn't. But, yeah.
Wow.
What?
Really?
What? It's 32 minutes.
You'd probably stay on this podcast.
I mean, probably.
Kidding?
I was just
making.
I was just making it. I was just
Like,
making
yeah,
a
right.
joke.
Who you kidding?
I was just making a joke, guys.
Okay.
But leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. And Dan, do you have anything to say before?
It's all personal preference, personal opinion. It's pretty much it comes down to the whole.
No, not about that.
Oh, we're not talking about that anymore?
No.
What are you talking about then?
Talking about we're ending the podcast.
Oh, we are?
Yeah.
You wanted me to do this, now you're ending it on me.
All right, fine. We
you
can
cut-
keep
you
it. We
cut
can
me
keep
off
it
at
going.
the
We can
knees
keep it
again.
going. All right. We can do another like 10 minutes. I don't want it to be like too long.
Why?
Because I'm the one that has to fucking edit this shit.
Don't bother me one bit. Give you practice.
Dan, okay, all right, let's talk about something a little bit lighter, because I feel like if we stay on this topic, like, I don't want one of my podcasts to get demonetized. Who knows? I don't know how YouTube does. I don't even know how they monitor the podcast. It's really easy to kind of like monitor videos because you can see the shit, but I don't know how they. Actually, I feel like some of my podcasts, like the Fuck Girl podcast, like I was just literally going off about like story times and other shit. Well, it ended up turning into like a story time thing. But yeah, I mean, just talking about fuck girls and shit like that, and that didn't get demonetized. That did really good. Thank you guys. Thank you for supporting the podcast. It means a lot.
I think it goes through a computer filter and it picks up and utilizes keywords that they program into the computer to catch.
Yeah, probably.
So, if you say like masturbation and they put that into their computer, every time you say it, it'll key in on their computer.
Well, you know, good for them. Good for them. YouTube, I hope. Never mind. I'm not going to go there.
Yeah, get your heads out of your asses, man.
Yeah, get your head out of your asses. Alright, let's, what should we talk about next? Maybe we should talk like a little bit about vaping. I need to get something to drink. I need to get my drink on the table. I'm thirsty. You can still talk to them there.
Yeah. Why don't you just ask me to get it for you? It's like, this is your podcast. Wouldn't that make more sense? Ow! You're doing that. You get hurt getting yourself something to drink. Jeez, all.
Alright, so we're back now. Let's talk a little bit about vaping. Not necessarily like the act of vaping. Like, what are some of your favorite e-juices to vape? Because that's like one of the questions that I get, and I'm like, I don't fucking know. It's so fucking subjective. Like, what I like may not be what you like. Because there's a lot of different vapors out there. Some people like menthol. Some people like fruity. Some people like really sweet shit. I mean, it's hard when people like comment shit on my YouTube channel, and they're like, oh, you know, like, what would be a good juice? Like, it's so hard because you might not like what I like, and you might vape something sweeter than I do. I don't really know. It's hard to tell.
Yeah, well, what was that one YouTuber? They suggested that one, and we went and bought it, and we're like, oh yeah, they think it's really great, and we got it. It's like, holy shit, is this stuff sweet?
What was it?
I forgot the name of it. I don't even remember the names of them anymore.
What was the flavor?
It's candy something. Fruit Loops or Tricks or one of them. We only got that one little bottle of it, and after that we were both like, oh guys, this is too sweet.
I don't know.
It was like, I don't know.
I think that's just like the hardest thing about trying to suggest juice to people. Like, when you do vapor reviews, it's just mainly like, I just fucking review something, I like it, and that's what I like. If you go to your local vape shop and you also try it and you like it, that's great. Can you put yours on vibrate?
Are you getting annoyed? You are, aren't you? I can see that little mean mug is coming out. Okay, fine. It's on vibrate.
Alright, so that's like one of the hardest things when picking out an e-juice or trying to suggest shit to people, because it's like, alright, I generally like fruity shit. Sometimes I like a little bit of stuff that's like a little bit sweeter. It just really depends on my mood, but it's really hard, especially when you don't know. Like, I don't fucking know. You guys are my subscribers, but I don't know you personally. I don't know what you generally gravitate towards. So it's hard for me to like suggest like, that's gonna be a good e-juice, because you might try what I like and be like, I don't really fucking like that shit. Because there's a lot of e-juice that I refuse to vape. There's a lot. And there's brands that I refuse to vape. I'm not gonna mention any because I don't really need that bullshit. But like, yeah, there's certain brands that I won't vape. There's certain flavors I won't vape. Like, I'll say right now, like, I'm a picky vapor. I like my top shelf juice. I don't want to vape something shitty, and that's just how I am. Cause I think like when we first started vaping, you'll even say like, we went back and we tried some of the juices that like, when we first both started like really getting into vaping and going to the vape shop all the time and buying different juices, we like retried stuff that we thought we liked at the time, and then we retried it after we'd been vaping for a while, and we were like, you know what, that's kind of shitty.
I think our tastes changed as we were going.
No, I think it's just like when we first started vaping, like we didn't know what was shitty juice. We just knew, for one, like, I mean, from my point of view, I'm just like, okay, I know a little bit about it, but like I at the time couldn't tell like what's a shitty juice from like a high quality e-juice. I couldn't tell the difference at the time, so it's kind of just like, oh, well, I guess I'll just go off of flavor and what I like. And then when you realize, you're like, okay, you could have a watermelon vape and have another watermelon vape, and the other one just be complete shit, and the other one be really good. Like, it was hard to kind of distinguish that when you first started vaping, because you don't have the experience to kind of be like, oh, well, no, that's kind of like a shittier flavor, versus this one generally tastes better, and it's going to vape better, and you're going to like it more.
Yeah, pretty much. Like I said, then I think everybody's tastes change to a certain degree over an amount of time.
I don't think like my taste has changed, because I like generally the same flavors. I just don't generally like the same brands that we were vaping from like when we first started to now. Like, I'll still vape like a watermelon vape. I still like fruity flavors. I still like I like a lot of the flavor profiles that when we first started vaping. But I there's just certain brands where I'm like, like, why did I vape that?
Well, some of them brands were like the more popular, prevalent, more expensive brands, and we found a better, cheaper one.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's not even, well, high quality juice doesn't have to be expensive. That's a misconception. Just because it's a more expensive e-juice doesn't mean that you're going to get a better experience from it. Fuck, I'm forgetting shit. I'm running out of juice. Hold on, guys.
Did you find
one? Just because a juice is more expensive doesn't mean that you're gonna get a better quality vape out of it. And that's the same thing with like mods, tanks, because with the vapor industry, so much shit changes so fast. Like, from tanks to mods to RDA to RDTAs, like, it changes so fast. And yeah, I see some people, they're like, oh, like, I'll spend like $500 on a mod. But like, the $500 mod is really no better than like a $200 mod. It's just and it's the same thing applies with juice. I think you can have a really expensive juice and it could taste like complete shit, and you could buy a cheaper juice and it's gonna be like the best thing that you ever vaped. So for anybody that is like new to vaping, I would suggest just go off what you think tastes the best, and not what is more expensive or more popular, because there's some popular juices and I don't like them. Like, what is that? Like, what is that? That one, what?
Personal preference. If you like them or not, it doesn't matter the price.
Well, yeah. And then the other half is like, a lot when I would like look up juices online and stuff, like I think for like the longest time, like that serial killer that used to vape, like when it first came out, was very popular. It was very popular. I think it still is very popular. And honestly, I hate that juice. I don't like it. I think it tastes like shit. And I don't even like to have Dan vape it because I hate the smell of it. And that just proves like something can be really popular and a good majority of people could like it, but that doesn't mean like I'm gonna like it or you're gonna like it. Juice is so subjective, and that's why I hate when people are like, oh, what juice do you think? And then like, I don't want you to come back at me and say, oh, well, I didn't really like that, or that tastes like shit. Like right now that I just put in my tank, I have the Naked 100 Amazing Mango. I've watched vapor reviews on that, and they're just like, oh, it tastes like floor cleaner and all this other shit and Pine Sol, and honestly, I don't think that juice tastes bad at all. I've vaped a lot of bottles of it, and I've never gotten any of that. But it all just comes down to taste is subjective, and you can't always, I'm gonna say this, like, you can't always listen to people on the fucking internet. You can't always listen to the vapor reviews. You have to just go to the vape shop and try it out, or order it online if they don't carry it in your local vape shop, and try it and see if you like it. And that's my best advice. Just go off of what you like. Don't listen to other people when it comes to vape juice, because sometimes it steers you in the right direction and they give you a really good juice and you're like, yeah, I actually really like that. It tastes really fucking good. And other times you're like, man, I just wasted fucking money on this shitty ass fucking juice and I still gotta vape it for the week. So
same could be said for mods and tanks too.
Yeah, I mean the same thing could be said. Like it's
mod.
always like
this tank and it's like don't work for me.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same thing. What I prefer in a mod and a tank is not what everybody prefers. Some people want to go more off of flavor and less clouds. I mean, it all gets really technical, but realistically, it's all subjective. Just vape what you want to vape. Vape on what you want to vape, and I think that's pretty much it. There really isn't any other thing. The vapor industry is so subjective, but I mean, I like talking about vape stuff. It still intrigues me. I don't think that I'll ever base my channel around it, but it still intrigues me a lot. And I would still suggest juices. Like, if I find something new that I'm like, oh, I really like I'm gonna mention that on my channel. But that doesn't mean that you're gonna like it, and so don't be coming at me with your bullshit talking about you didn't really like that and you spent, however much money it cost for you to buy the juice. 'Cause I don't want to hear it.
So in other words, you will suggest your personal opinion of a juice, and it's up to them to figure out if they want.
Yeah, I mean, really, because I could sit up here and I could probably like if I found a juice that I didn't really like, and I could like hype it up and be like, it's the best fucking juice I've ever fucking had. But like, okay, you might find like that shitty juice to be good. I don't know. You might be like, oh, this is the juice I've been looking for months to vape, and I just haven't found it.
It's not like we have any promotion deals.
So I don't know. I don't. Even if I did, I mean, I feel like a lot of YouTubers, like when they get brand deals and stuff, and they review products or whatever, or even like the vapor review channels where they get juice sent to them, they are still allowed to criticize it. And it all just comes down to, regardless of what their opinion is or their dislikes, it only gives you like a basis idea. Like, that's how I kind of like look at vapor reviews. I don't look at it like, oh, I'm gonna go to the vape shop and I'm gonna fucking love this shit. I'm gonna fucking love it. It just gives like a good idea of what to expect when you vape it. That's basically all I use vapor reviews for. I don't take it as 100%. That's what I'm gonna like. Because, what is it? My favorite juice, Mother Milk and Cookies. It probably took, I don't know. We tried it when we first started vaping, and I was like, this juice is alright, this and that. But I never decided to buy a bottle. I just kept putting it off. Didn't really want to buy a bottle of it. And then one day I was like, you know what? I've had the flavor before. I retried it in the vape shop, and I was like, I still, even after I got it, it probably took maybe a day or two, and then I was like, you know what, this is actually really fucking good. It's really fucking good. So some vapes, believe it or not, you may not like the first few times that you puff on it, but it just kind of I think that shit is like crack now. I love it. Anytime I get a chance to get a bottle of Mother Milk and Cookies. And Suicide Bunny, if you want to send your girl some Mother Milk and Cookies,
yeah, I doubt that.
She would love that. What do you mean you would doubt that? They do that. People send juice to people all the time for promotion.
Yeah, you can suggest it all you want. Well, luckily we have a vape shop close to us, so you just pay an X amount of money and you can trial.
Yeah.
With all the new juices and RDA before you even have to buy them.
Yeah, I mean that's nice.
Might not offer that.
Yeah, I mean that's the real nice thing. I mean, most vape shops have juice bars, but like the vape shop we go to has like a shit ton of juice, and like we've been to several other vape shops where like it's like in the local area, and it's kind of like I feel bad for them because they're not like getting a good solid variety of juices. They kind of just get like maybe like 5-6 companies, and then like they kind of just rotate juice in and out of their shop, so they aren't getting like the variety that they get if it's a bigger vape shop, which is kind of like disappointing because you're missing out on a lot. Because we went to a few vape shops and they had like some of the brands that our vape shop had, and and then some brands that were kind of like on the cheaper side, and then people were like, oh, I love this, it's like a bestseller, but it's like your vape shop's really not all that big. It doesn't have that big of a variety, so it's like you're not gonna get.
And a couple of them didn't even have any juices you could try. I mean, one we went in and they were trying to sell us juice, and we couldn't even put them or no testers at all.
What do you mean?
That one vape shop, that small one. I don't know if they're just starting out or what.
The one in Minner?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah,
we were just like, okay.
Well, that wasn't with all their juice. That was just with certain ones. They had ran out of them, and they didn't have any testers of them. Like, that's another thing. Like, since juice is so subjective, like, unless I know, like, I like this juice, and I'm like, oh, I've maybe had it, like, once, then I'm probably not gonna. Or if it's, like, a flavor that I know that's gonna just be, or not even, like, a flavor, like, a brand. A brand that I know. If it's a brand that I know and they come out with a new flavor, I would probably be more prone to buy it without actually tasting it first. But 9 times out of 10, I want to taste that shit before fucking money is involved. Like, I want to taste it because I don't know if I'm gonna fucking like it.
Why spend $20 to $30 depending on the bottle and the size?
Yeah. All right, Dan, are you done with the podcast? This is us ending it? You're getting up. You're getting restless.
If you want me to sit back down, I can sit back down. We can keep going.
All
I
right.
don't know how much longer you can go on with this.
All right. We can end the podcast here. Thank you guys for watching the podcast, and make sure you leave a like, smash that motherfucking like button, and subscribe if you haven't already. And is there anything else to add, Dan? You gonna say bye?
Bye, everyone. Hope you like this shit.
Hopefully you guys enjoyed, Dan. And guys, let me know down in the comment section how you guys feel about Dan being a guest on the podcast. Do you want him back on the podcast? Do you not want him back on the podcast?
Sure, that's a good idea.
And what do you guys want to talk about next on the podcast? Make sure you leave a nice comment below. And like I said, smash that motherfucking like button. And I will see you next Friday for another podcast.